Hello, my name is Paul Doherty. I'm an architect, builder, real estate developer, and writer. Today, we're going to explore some interesting topics concerning this term called the metaverse. And this is going to be one of these, I guess, unlocking the metaverse is the way that I phrased it, because of there's a lot of talk, a lot of, I think, misinformation being brought about this nebulous thing that is emerging over time. So let's get into it. So what we're going to do is actually showcase how we've perceived and have seen the world of the metaverse over a period of about 30 years or so, and what this means to the real estate design and construction industry. So with that, let me start up the the PowerPoint, and let's hope that the technology agrees. There we go. So again, I run a company called the Digi Group, or TDG. We're known for what's called smart cities, smart city development around the world. We've been very fortunate to grow as the movement for urbanization started to happen. And so we're dealing a lot with innovation, development and delivery, involving things like equipment, different processes of delivery, and of course technology. Our focus on water, energy, and then specific building types like housing, healthcare, education has really given us a lot of challenges, especially when you throw a 2.5 to 3 year pandemic, worldwide pandemic on top of it. But even through that, we've persevered and we've pivoted. And what I'd like to do is show you the footprint right now about where we are located with our different projects in Asia, Middle East, Europe, the US, and down in Australia and New Zealand. I come from an old school world of being brought up in the industry. This is an A&E firm back in the 1950s, 60s, or 70s. And I remember my architect that I interned under. I used to sit on boards like this and hand draw, right? And he wanted to see butts and elbows, as he used to say. Show me the butts and elbows. And as you can see, that's exactly what happened. We used to climb up in order to get that right angle to make sure that the edge of our pencil made the perfect letter or made the perfect dimension, arrow, and or the actual thickness of the lines on a drawing. It was an art and a science, and I really enjoyed it. Some of my background, though, was that I'm now seen as one of the leaders that broke away from that. Um, Although right next to me here at my desk, I always carry these for hand drafting. These are meant to keep your sleeves up. So it's a bandable piece that keeps. It's almost like a way of keeping your shirt from getting a lot of graphite and whatnot on your shirt. So yeah, I come from there, but I was also here. I was one of the consultants in with the founding team of Revit, and the rest has been history for those that are in the BIM world. So spanning all of that, I had some really interesting experiences. And this is where it starts to roll into this term metaverse. So in 1996, I was writing a book called Cyberplaces. And here's the book itself, pretty thick. And it was widely published and accepted as the internet guide for using browser-based technology rather than, at the time, America Online, AOL, or CompuServe. And I wanted to showcase some of the work that we were doing. And as you can see through these screenshots, we actually started to take a look at browsers as a way of handling 3D images and geometries inside of a browser. So the reason why I'm showing this is because in 1996, we were working with a group that had been hired by the San Francisco Giants baseball team, Major League Baseball team here in the US, that has a new stadium that was coming up online, but they wanted to showcase it to the stakeholders, the mayor, the city council, others, and they didn't want to buy an expensive piece of engineering software just to show the 3D image. So a group of us just worked together in a technology called VRML, which was the 3D version of HTML of how you made two-dimensional websites. And what we were able to accomplish, as you see in these screenshots, was the ability to, well, showcase 3D inside of a web browser in 1996. right? Subsequently, we were able to showcase it for the giants, and they were successful in getting their project up online. It's still here to this day. So when I hear people start talking about how they've created the metaverse or they're the metaverse leaders, sit down, son. That's not true. This has been going on a long time with people, and this is just one example of many, many, many giants before you. I think it's time that we build upon those shoulders, though, because for as advanced as we were in 1996 with delivering these types of environments and experiences, um, we're not too far away from where we were almost now 25 years ago. Right. So, with that in mind, there's another term also that's being thrown around in the marketplace called the digital twin. I guess back in 1996, that's where we were. We didn't call it a digital twin. We had, virtual spaces, virtual worlds. We had all these terms, right? Metaverse also being another one of them. But for the most part, digital twins have been around for a very, very, very long time. The fact that people now are getting in line with the myriad of ways of taking a visual geometry, and now they have a banner to put it behind with this term digital twin. I guess that's where we're at today, right? The fact that you can tell stories and the data behind the geometry being the most important. I think that's where the world of building information modeling is morphing into. Is now no longer just a way of creating a single structure or a piece of infrastructure, and being able to create construction documents out of that. That's good, and we should continue to explore that, and hopefully more and more people from outside of the golden thread would be able to communicate within that ecosystem, which is why I'm really pleased to see that it's no longer about one piece of software being this this monolithic way of communicating. By putting things into browser technology, by being able to have this idea of a digital twin, well, there's different phases of digital twins, right? You have the the pre-design, the ideation of what, like, let's say, a building wants to be. The programming then comes into play. We finally get into construction documents. After construction documents, hopefully those things are used for things like facility management, and we start taking a look at the life cycle approach to how we take data and then manifest it into this world of digital twins. So, with that in mind, we wanted to make sure that the nomenclature, the taxonomy of how we start to communicate with each other so that we can have an ecosystem full of people that are there for a project to be designed, to be built and delivered and managed in a more seamless way, maybe a more efficient way. And that's why this idea of the metaverse becomes very, very interesting, because the metaverse does not exist. Let's get that down on the table. The big elephant's out of the room, but we are building towards it, which means that there are decisions being made every day that will manifest itself into what the market accepts of what this thing of the metaverse is. Which is why I don't mind that we're using the term digital twin, as long as it is part of a continuum, because with digital twins you can actually put things like static objects, like building information modeling, CAD, those static pieces, and start to move through the geometry in order to gain insight, in order to communicate more efficiently and effectively. And this is where the world of gaming engines comes into play, and we're going to hit on that here in a second. But the idea is that you create virtual worlds, and these virtual worlds are what people experience, which means that there's a level of engagement, a level of experience that goes along with the level of detail. So, level of detail is just that way of having an interface, but the level of engagement and level of experience is really those key metrics of how we are all going to take this imaginary world of the metaverse. Think of it like outer space, right? You can't touch it, you can't feel it, but it's there. That's the metaverse. The metaverse is outer space, but there are solar systems, there are galaxies, there are planets that reside in that environment. And that's really where we're at right now with this idea of defining a taxonomy of digital twins, putting your static element, your digital asset, into a gaming engine or onto a gaming engine to create a virtual world that will reside in the metaverse as it starts to emerge. So, with all that in mind, we have some, examples which I'll show at the end, and also right here, which is one example of how you can move through data. Right. So these are examples of some of the pavilions at the World Expo 2020. It was called Expo 2020 in Dubai, and uh, were uh, we were asked to take these experiences and allow people, because of COVID, to move through all of these different pavilions, which were fantastic. And what I wanted to show here was that you can go very, very high level of detail and also have a higher level of engagement, meaning that we can actually show these types of images on a phone, right, on a tablet, inside of a browser, on a monitor screen, or immersively by using a head-mounted display. Those are the different levels of how you can enter this world of data, this world of digital assets, this world of engagement that we need to now define better than we have in the past. Because there's a lot of people out there saying, there's a digital twin, here's my metaverse, yada, yada, yada. And it's confusing the market, it's confusing us. So we like to get right back into the world of gaming. To say that we have a lot to learn from organizations like Epic Games, with their technology of Fortnite as an experience, understanding the terminology, understanding that the game never ends. Right. So Fortnite is always there, but it depends on when you enter that environment, either with your friends or alone, and then have your adventure, have your journey, have your experience, and then you're done. You either win your time, that limited time that you're inside the Fortnite environment, or you lose, and that is the game. Right. Well, we're looking right now at taking some of those gaming fundamentals and putting them into real projects. Right now, we have two experiments going on right now where we are using agents, not chatbots, but agents of AI that can help with the process of taking care of some back office issues during the design and construction period of a project. So imagine this, the project never ends, but the human beings need to rest, which is why you shut down at a certain time every day and then come back to work. Right. But what happens in that in between time? We're actually taking an augmented approach, a metaverse approach, by saying, what would happen if we were able to take care of reconciliation, ensuring that delivery of materials and equipment the next day are on time? All those things that would happen, the first thing you would do going back into the job trailer, you're able to do now off-site. And you don't need to be there because we can take a lot of the gaming technology, a lot of the reality capture, motion capture of an individual and start the process of creating through the idea of machine learning, that person's decisions on what they would do based upon processes that have been defined. Then those processes are more than once are focused in on things like standards. Right. So this is why this world of what the BIM heroes are doing as a community, by taking a look at the ISO, categorization of BIM, where we're taking a look at the world of the financial industry with their XML schemas so that we can have a transparency of transactions called XBRL. This is where the world of gaming is going to gain a huge momentum inside the world of design and construction, in our opinion. The other group would be Hollywood and what they're using technology for, which if you've been watching The Mandalorian or any of those Star Wars, Disney Plus epic series, they've been able to get motion picture quality into a TV show because of the use of LED screens. And those screens are put into the roof or the ceiling, a 270-degree concave screen that you can project images so that you're not using just green screen technology and then having to superimpose computer graphics, CGI and special effects later in post-production. It does away with all of that. So it increases the speed of delivery. It actually does now take things like building information models that are on a gaming engine and superimpose that as part of the stage set. That does not need to be built, but the actors are immersed in it. The actors love it. The studios love it, and we love it as an audience. So again, we have a lot to learn from other industries about their use of digital twins, their use of gaming engines, and the resultant effect into the world of the metaverse. And the way that you actually then touch and interface with that new digital asset is through the use of avatars. Right. These are ways of being able to capture real time motion, being able to capture real time environment that then you superimpose into the way of interfacing. So when you want to interact with others, when you want to interact with the experience of the space, you need to have an avatar. Avatars are moving quickly away from this type of style, which is very pixelated, but you can outfit it to be more customized for you and how you want to be seen with others or inside of a metaverse environment. You can see that the character on the right, the skins, meaning the uniforms, the clothing, the things that they would hold, things like a shield or a lightsaber or a basketball, can all be purchased and then superimposed onto your avatar. Just to give you an idea about what that means in today's world, literally, in the world of Fortnite, Epic Games made last month a little over $1.2 billion in sales of avatar-based skins and relative equipment, that type of thing. And they use their own digital currency called V-Bucks in order to do that. 1.2 billion last month. So yeah, this is coming fast and furious, not just because of the social nature of what things are happening, but it's because of the breakthrough technologies like what Gabriella here is doing. She's one of the leads with Epic Games for this idea called the metahuman avatar, where you can take a GoPro camera and start to capture how you smile, how your eyes may crinkle when when you're curious. All these little idiosyncrasies that make you can now be captured in a real-time motion capture and then have the interactive humanoid be your avatar. Now, you can do that either in real time or you can actually read a script, have all these different emotions and different ways of how you're going to interface with the metaverse, and then be able to have your avatar act independently. This is huge because now all of a sudden that whole world of the project never ends. So it's like a game. Imagine now having your humanoid take on your personality, take on how you look, how you react, so that it becomes, they don't know if it's really you or not that's sitting behind that avatar. The reason for doing that is to just give a more, again, a level of experience, a level of engagement, rather than just being like sitting in front of a game and having to press buttons, so that it starts taking on this idea of the beginnings of artificial intelligence, so that we can start the process of understanding best practices and having a more efficient, more effective, and more transparent built environment. Another thing I wanted to show you also was the experiments that we did with Netflix with their hit show Stranger Things. We took that concept, right, of being able to have geometries and data be part of a design and construction process, but inside of the actual workings of, like, let's say, a home. Wouldn't it be interesting to interface with a Hollywood style story and have the ability to have a QR code during certain scenes of Stranger Things that you would actually, take an interaction with, hit the hyperlink, and suddenly it opens the app that gives you these types of experiences in AR. In other words, through technologies of the newer types of smartphones, when you do a measure, it's actually doing a LiDAR measure, so that you know where the walls are, where the openings are for doors and windows, where your couch is, all those different things in real time, which means that when the monsters come out during these certain episodes and certain scenes of those episodes, you can interface with it rather than just being a passive audience member. You can actually be part of the action. So these are the ways that we're starting to take a look at how the world of digital twins and the metaverse will start to change certain things. Like, do you really have to have your 80-inch flat screen TV up on the wall when you can actually either be part of it inside of the episode, or just interface with it or not? Or if you want to sit on your couch with popcorn, that's fine. So again, these are what's coming out. Some last things here that I wanted to express about how the metaverse is going to fundamentally change as it matures, how we work. And it has to do with smart contracts. I'm going to use the example of the American Institute of Architects, which account for the majority of contracts for commercial and residential projects here in the US every year, approximately 1.8 million. And what we're doing is taking a look at how the workflows can be assisted with the work of blockchain. We use the Ethereum blockchain that allows us to have an exchange between, like, let's say, an owner and an architect, an owner and a general contractor and a subcontractor, using things like building information modeling as a control, right? Almost like a router, because we can host inside of that the overall master schedule, along with the different ways of how we can then take the smart contract that has the built-in taxonomy, verbiage, nomenclature built into the code. So it's not like we're taking like a PDF document and saying, does it equal this PDF document? We're going to be changing. No, it's built into the code, which is really important because it means it's immutable. The data is immutable. It's the truth. We finally get to the truth. It also provides a transparency, which is what the second line of images are starting to talk about. So let's say you're on site, you're putting in a truss, and the truss for every one of our projects, by the way, when you come onto site, everything has to have some sort of QR code, GPS signal, something, so that we can actually start testing this concept of smart contracts. Because as work gets put into place with this trust, it's hitting the building information model to say, all right, let's update this. We know now at this time with a time and date stamp that this piece of equipment has been put into place. And we now have an on-site as-built. So the as-builts are being as-built as the building's being built. Imagine that. The other thing that's cool is that the updates are then logged and secured and then put into a checklist. That checklist is saying, right, building information model says that it is putting it in the proper place according to the design, construction documents, and, well, specs and drawings, right, or models. It updates everything. And then what it does, it goes into a payment system. And that payment system says, right, was it put into place in a quality manner? So you still have to have the human interface go out there to say, right, everything checks out within nanoseconds according to the smart contract. Mr. Superintendent, go out there to make sure that it was put in place properly, QA/QC process. He goes out with a mobile device, and he can then say, yep, it's done, pay the person, and automatically pays. It automatically follows up with task orders and updates everything automatically. Imagine that being done for every piece of workflow and work stream for every piece of material and equipment on a job site. This is where the idea of a decentralized autonomous organization comes into play, because this is just one example of one work stream. Think of all the thousands of work streams it takes for one project, and then imagine when you put thousands of projects with trusted data. This means we can finally start pulling information for analysis and reports, custom repeatable reporting, benchmarking, and other third-party offerings that have never, ever been available before. So that's the excitement of sticking, again, this workflow type of process inside of a 3D geometry so that it is easier to look at the picture is worth 1,000 words, but understanding and knowing that you're trusting the data and trusting the workflow of how people get paid. Finally, with AI, I thought that this coming off Twitter was just amazing, because this idea of ChatGPT is intoxicating in certain cases, terrifying in others. But the bottom line is, hey, ChatGPT, finish this building. It won't do that. Not yet, but it's not going to be in my lifetime as a deliverable, like one of the top deliverables in the world. There'll be examples, of robotics and everything else, but at the end of the day, we still need people. And that's going to be our, the key piece here. But I wanted to showcase one of my colleagues and friends, Hugh Seaton, that owns a technology in a company called The Link. He's created Spec GPT, which says that, wouldn't it be interesting if we could actually take all the project documents accessible through an AI agent? Again, not a chatbot, but an agent. An agent has more intelligence, and it's very, very specifically focused on, like, let's say, a project, a design and construction project. And imagine if all those systems were accessible to that agent, and then what would happen if we could train to answer questions for various stakeholders, from a architect, from an engineer, from a subcontractor, from a material supplier, from an owner. And this is what he's created. This allows this tool to be kind of like a super Google for everything you do that is normal language. So it's this large language model that allows you to talk to, and like an oracle, to say, what's the status of my RFI for, RFI number 20? What is, can you show me the detailed drawing for that particular connection? And instead of going into a folder and starting to search for information, it's just there. So there's different answers for different permissions and roles, obviously, because it's just not an open system for everyone, because there is a control that needs to be put into play. But here's a screenshot of what a chat history of Spec GPT is. You can start off with saying, what do I need to do before starting a roof installation? Fair answer. It's a fair question. And you can see that the answer coming out is actually done in a way that allows us now to take what they're saying and then ask more questions. Like, could you please write that in 5 sentences instead of this long thing? And boom, they're able to do it. Where this is going is actually going to be placed into different formats. And that's when things get interesting, especially with specs. Here in the US, we use a thing called master format. It's a 3-port format, different divisions that demarcate a taxonomy that allows people to find information quicker and actually have answers. So by being able to put into a form, Spec GPT now literally does not replace the writing of specs, but what it does is it makes it easier for calling out information, for doing everything from change order management to, taking care of value engineering. This is a tool that I think quantity surveyors are going to go nuts over. So it's called Spec GPT. It's underneath the link.ai, and I just love this thing because it really changes a lot. In the world of drawings, though, we actually have the world of the world of using AI to at least generate design motifs and start the process of taking everything in the universe and coming down to maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the best of what you call prompts. Prompt architecture is here to stay. The people that understand how to ask the right questions to come up with these types of beautiful ways of expression and different design ideation, I think we're on the track for doing something really incredible. You can see here, there's another one called Midjourney that runs on the Discord platform. Midjourney allows you to, again, use prompts. This is what a prompt looks like. And in this case, you have to put in a command called /imagine. Then in the prompt, you get to put in different keywords or phrases in order to generate the types of design motifs that you can then take, which gets you maybe 80% there, 75% there, but look at all the time you just saved, so that then you can take that and actually make it your own. I put in a prompt called me as Batman, and this is what it turned out. I hate AI. Anyway, but this is the type of stuff that you can have fun with, but also use it as a great tool. Other types of AI, roomgpt.io, allows you to take photos of an original room and then see what it could be in the future with real, decoration, furniture, that type of thing. This is the way that IKEA is going moving forward. We also have the idea of transforming text into virtual experiences, text to space. This one's called Versi. So it's generative AI that allows you on the fly to start fitting out space. This one I really love. This one actually takes drawings and starts to go beyond OCR and starts to clean up what it is. And then you're able to take it out into the field and immediately start creating 3D objects. This can be very helpful for mechanical, for a lot of the EPC type of projects out there. Again, I think we're just hitting the first generation of what people are able to do with things like generative AI. So finally, I just want to go through some projects to show you that this stuff is actually working. This is a project that we were just awarded in Seoul, outside of Seoul, South Korea. It is a TV and film and metaverse studio. It is going to be live online within the next 12 to 15 months to experience before it's built. And the idea is that there's going to be certain areas that we're going to charge to get into so that we start generating revenue off of BIM in a gaming engine, creating a virtual world in the metaverse that will start lowering our construction loan. How much we're going to get from that, I'm not sure, but I think this is a model that we're going to be starting to to really achieve, because we've already started the experiment here in Qingdao, China, in our international virtual reality theme park. This theme park should be, again, there's a lot of regulatory that goes into this because it's China in today's China. But our idea is that in December of this year, 2023, we would launch this live for VR and AR experiences that we would charge for. This one we did do back in the napkin. We're looking at probably anywhere between a 3 and 4% decrease in our construction loan just by doing this, by opening up the experience approximately 18 to 24 months before this thing is live physically. So again, start to think through. This is our construction process right now for that project. We're about 40% up out of the ground. This is another project that we used and are using the worlds of digital twins and metaverse technologies, including smart contracts, to deliver. This is in Abu Dhabi. It is a long-term hotel and resort, and it is using water power, hydropower, in order to create through these waterfalls that turn turbines, a net zero energy production environment. Another project that we get to look at and say yay or nay is from other architects and other designers. This one I found fascinating, that puts a ring around downtown Dubai with the Burj Khalifa still at the centerpiece. But these are, again, experiments and ways of starting to rethink the urbanization of the world. And although Dubai arguably is one of the most up and coming, very dynamic type of new urbanism, they're already revising it, which I found fascinating. And then finally, this is a project that we've been brought into. We actually were part of the winning tender for this, and it's called New Maraba, the Cube, right? And this is in Riyadh. It's meant to be an icon of Riyadh, but as you can see, we built and designed an entire community that surrounds this. So it's meant to be a doorway into the future, and to be experienced in a myriad of ways once you go inside of it. It's 400 meters squared. It fits 20 Empire State Buildings inside of it, just to give you the scale of this thing. And what we're doing is, our job is to create the digital experiences, either through, lifelike types of holographics and all of those different elements that can make up a level of experience and a level of engagement. So with all of that, I just wanted to show you what is possible and where we feel like all of this is going. But remember this, AI will not take your job, but people using AI will absolutely take your job. So be aware. We are definitely unlocking the metaverse over a period of time. I really don't have a good idea of when, but I do know that the process is fascinating. I'd also like to just do a quick pitch. Authors don't make money on books. That's number one. But I decided to write a book on smart cities, and it is live. It's up on Amazon and at other bookstores around the world. And the reason why I'm pushing is because of the ideas that are in there that I tried to capture in this little 20-minute video. I also have a book coming out called Unlocking the Metaverse by the world-famous publishing house out of New York, John Wiley and Sons. This will be available in late November. Again, talking a little bit about what we've done here, but in depth. So with that, my name is Paul Doherty. I'd like to thank Ralph Montague and the entire team for putting on yet again this summit, and also just much success to my fellow colleagues and community members in the BIM Heroes program. So with that, thank you very much.